Yeah, we never unplug, S-Works, show some love.
Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works.
Sworkshops are a series of online workshops featuring the many incredibly talented friends of SocialWorks. This series aims to inspire and educate, bringing local and national creatives live to your smartphone. They will be sharing and teaching specific aspects of their craft. A wide variety of professions, interests, and hobbies are represented within our curriculum. Did we mention it's a fundraiser too? The stay-at-home notice has students wondering what's to come. For some, graduation and prom will both be canceled. This campaign will directly fundraise a celebration event for those students within the Chicagoland area. Once it's safe, of course. Tune in to any of our socials for one or all of the Sworkshops. You can find the full schedule of programming at socialworksshy.org or on our Instagram. Classes start Monday, April 13th. We'll see you there.
My name is Chelsey and I'm a fashion designer based in the city of Chicago. And today we are going to be making some masks. With everything that's going on around us, the pandemic that our entire nation is under, I thought it would be beneficial for everyone watching at home, as well as for me using my experience to show you all how to make a mask using what you have at home. So the materials that are going to be required for this project are going to be 100% cloth material to make the outer layer of the mask. You can also use a t-shirt, an old t-shirt that, you don't mind cutting into. A bandana would also suffice. An old pillowcase, an old sheet, whatever is 100% cotton that you don't mind using for this. And you're also going to need some pins. Here's my tomato. You can also use paper clips. You can also use your potato chip holders, or anything that keeps your bag fresh. Paper clips, potato chip clamps, pins, safety pins, whatever is at home that you have. You're also going to need an indicator to mark your measurements. So I have a pin here, but you can also use a pencil, which is here. I also have tailor's chalk because I sew. So for those of you that sew at home, you can also use tailor's chalk, just whatever you have available that can mark your points. Ruler, your sewing machine, or a hand needle and thread. I also have a seam ripper for those of us that make mistakes. I know none of you will though, because I know I have some veterans here, but for those of you that are a little inexperienced or just maybe are still troubleshooting, getting a seam ripper or a pair of scissors to kind of clip out anything that you may have made a mistake on, you can also grab that. For the filters, a lot of materials in general to make these masks are becoming much more unavailable because everyone needs them, especially those that are in need, that have been testing positive, as well as our healthcare workers. So I'm just using a reusable bag. Chicago is a city where, you have to pay for bags. So a lot of us just have a lot of these just hanging out at home, which can be used for filters. It's that pebbly material. So if you are concerned about which one is going to be the best one, it's going to be the one that has those little dots on it. okay? And we are ready to go. So, and you're also going to have to get either your material at 18 inches long and 1 inch wide. You're going to need 4 straps of that. You can also use shoelaces, which is what I'm going to use today. Flat or round would work. Or just any long string that you can tie off. It doesn't, have to be a shoelace, but that is what I'm going to be using today. So our measurements to start are going to be 16 by 8 inches, 16 inches long and 8 inches wide. So you're going to take your ruler and your pencil and you're going to indicate your 16 by 8 inch rectangle. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. So I'm going to square off a 90-degree angle to start. And I'm going to measure up 18 inches. Okay. And then I'm going to measure 8 inches across. Once that is done, it should look a little something like this. Okay. And I have already pre-cut my African material in our specified measurement. So I am going to use this and not the cloth because it's fun. So once that has been cut out, I am going to put my right sides together. And as you can see, like the cotton doesn't have a right or wrong side, but this one does. The print is more visible than it is on this side. So this is my right side. I'm going to marry my right sides like so. And we know that this is 8 inches wide, but we are going to leave a 2-inch opening in this. So how you're going to do that is at the halfway point, which I've already indicated, which is at the 4-inch mark. I'm going to measure 1 inch over from there, mark it. I just clipped it with scissors. And I'm going to measure 1 inch over from that and clip it with scissors. So now I have a 2-inch opening that I have already indicated in this. And I am going to sew from this point over and from this point over, leaving my 2-inch hole open. So now that those are sewn together, leaving our 2-inch hole open here, right? This is sewn. We're going to place this down like so, putting that line that we just sewed together with the hole in the middle, right in the middle of this. Okay? And I am going to go ahead and iron it. So now that that's pressed, I am going to take my strips. I have 4 cut at 18 inches long. And 18 inches is a little long, but if you find that it's a little too long, then you can always trim them later, but it's always better to have them be too long than not long enough. So that's why I cut them at this measurement. So I'm going to take the first one. I'm going to place it inside of our pouch. And I'm going to take it right at the tip of this. As you can see, it's right there. I'm going to pin it right there. Or clip it, or whatever you have to hold your pieces in place. Use that, and it will be fine. You also want to make sure that you're leaving your straps on the inside of this, on the inside of your pouch and the mask that you're making. Leave all of your straps inside. As you're pinning, make sure that you pin not in the same direction that you will be sewing in. So your pin should always be perpendicular to the line that you will be sewing. So we're going to be sewing down this line here. So my pins are going this way. I'm going to do the other side. Again, I'm keeping all of my straps inside. So you really shouldn't see the strap at all as you're doing this. And for those of you that don't have access to a machine, don't fret. You can do this by thread and needle. It might take a little bit longer, but it's still worth the time that you put into it. Also, make sure that if you are doing it with needle and thread, make sure you're doing it a couple of times because you just want to make sure that it's super secure. Last string. Okay, I ironed it and we are ready to go. So this is the back where our hole is, and then this is the front. Okay, the side that we sewed together is going to be the jawline. The side that was folded already and we did not need to sew together, on opposite ends, this side and this side are going to be above the nose and under the chin. So you're going to place it down with your hole. This is the hole line right here, going horizontally. Okay, so then you're going to indicate your pleats along the left and right sides. Those marks are going to be noted as follows. Your first one will be at 1 inch from the bottom up. Okay, you have to use a color that you can see. If your fabric is printed or colorful in any way, you know, you're gonna wanna make sure that you can indicate where it is, okay? So from the first one will be 1 inch, the second one will be another inch. The third one will be 3/4 of an inch. Fourth, 1.5 inches from that point. The next one will be 1/2 inch. And the last one will be 1.5 inches. So now I'm gonna do it on the other side. Mirror everything I did on the left to the right. All right, so as you can see, our marks are on this side here, okay? And they're on the other side. So now what I'm gonna do is make sure my pins are close by, and I'm going to take the first 1 inch mark and take it to the next one. And pin it in place. The next one, I will pin it in place. You're just taking it from one mark to the next. So we have that, all of our pleats. So now what I'm gonna do is sew along this side as well as this side. And as you sew, you always wanna make sure that you're going down, the presser foot is going down the stairs of the pleats. So you wanna just make sure that you're not going against the pleat and making it go like this. So you wanna make sure that you're going down. All right. So now that we've sewn that together, I'm gonna remove my pins. Like that. And our mask is done. So you know that it's the right side is the side that doesn't have the hole in it. This is open for you to slide your filter in there or not. You can also just hand sew this back up or not. Just make sure that you only have the front part of it, not the back. You can take that hole and hand tack it together, or you can machine it just how you would a throw pillow in your living room. Okay, so our mask is done. I'm gonna put this on and show you the way that it looks. So, job well done. I know you're gonna kill it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, we just wanted to do this one because these masks can be made at home. And I really want to put emphasis on staying safe and just making sure that you're protected when you are leaving the house for the necessities needed for you and your household. Here are some just readily available. You probably weren't even thinking that you had everything you needed to make this possible for yourself. So again, if you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. And thank you for watching. Hey guys, so now that you're masters of creating your surgical masks, how do you feel? I'm super proud of you. I don't even need to see it. I know that you nailed it, and I'm sure that they look amazing. Because the tutorial was done on a machine, I do want to take some time to provide a little bit more support to those that are doing it by needle and thread, by showing you some of the things that I was talking about, as well as reiterating some other things. So there really are only three seams that you're going to need to sew by hand on the machine. With needle and thread. So you'll have to do your side seams, obviously, when you get ready to put it together. This side is already folded, as I said earlier. This side is not. That would be the side that you need to hand tack. And then you also are going to need to sew the line that goes right along the mouth. The horizontal line that I was talking about. So that one will also need to get hand tacked. Again, please reinforce your seams. If you are sewing with needle and thread, I would always at least try to do it twice. Double up on your thread when you thread your needle. I would put 2 pieces of thread in it. I always knot it 3 times. And then for your pleats in the front, if you do need to, you will need to tack those, because this is how it takes the shape of the mouth. Obviously it's a flat piece otherwise, and then this is how it becomes a little bit more it shapes the mouth. So the pleats are needed, and they are a necessity. So in order to do that by hand, you can just literally tack each pleat. You wouldn't need to sew like I did on the machine all the way down. So those are some tips for my needle and threaders at home. Also, the clips that I was talking about, should you not have pins. Your potato chips. This one is one that I literally pulled from my kitchen, and filing paper clips as well. So all of these, would work and suffice all the same. In addition to that, I wanted to talk to you guys about being resourceful and using what you definitely already have at home. I'm sure most of you all have these things. So when I was talking about making one from a t-shirt, you literally could cut the bottom half of a graphic t-shirt, just the part that goes along your, from your pit down, would make a perfect measurement to make your rectangle. Bandanas, as I said before. And so, there's things that you don't need to buy anything. Shoelaces, flat laces, strips of fabric. You can absolutely do this at home. And who knows, before you know it, you could be making some for your whole family, and friends, and even maybe healthcare workers if you so please. So being resourceful right now, being a entrepreneur, small business owner, it really is something that you have to be innovative and you have to be creative right now, more so than ever. And because of that, if you guys don't know, I was on Project Runway, this season 18 of Project Runway. And one of the challenges for us was to create a look using only what we could find inside of a Goodwill. So I went into the Goodwill and I immediately knew that I wanted to use only denim. We were creating an American look for an American model to attend a fashion event in Paris. And so the inspiration for that was I wanted it to be symbolic of our flag. So her skin is fair. She had on a red lip and she was wearing blue. So there was a red, white, and blue thread that I sent home with that. And I ran with that. But it is completely made from 12 pair of jeans, the top and the bottom. So the top is made from 8 and the bottom is made from 8 pair and the top is made from 3 or 4. So it was extremely creative. I had to use my resources. I had to use what I had only. I limited myself a little bit by only grabbing denim. But these are things that, being a small business owner and being, a creative professional, I don't have another choice. There's no other option that we have. We have to, kind of move with the times and figure it out, Once the pandemic hit, I also needed to figure out a creative way to start releasing products, even though, our fabric stores were closed, which leads me to the mannequin that you see behind me. I literally got a lot of reusable, vintage, thrifted t-shirts and just started making new silhouettes with them. So the shirt that you see behind me is literally made from 5 to 6 graphic t-shirts that I made a women's block or pattern from, created a bishop sleeve, which is more of like a flouncy one, with a 4-inch cuff. And this one is more so solid black, but the ones that I've been producing have mostly a lot of graphics on them. So again, just being resourceful, using what I have at home or have access to create new and different ways to still supply needs of my customers, as well as continue to build a brand. It's important. Staying quick on your feet and realizing that you might have it in your closet, you might have it in your backyard, and you don't really have to search too far to find it. So those are my gifts and tutorials that I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope that it was inspiring, and I hope that the tutorial helps you at home, because as I said, the masks are becoming more and more scarce for us to get to. So I do hope that the video can help you in any way. So I will be opening the floor now for questions, sewing related, Project Runway related, however you see fit. And I think that we have a couple here now, so I'm gonna grab this one and see. So someone asks, what's the best way to tie the mask behind your head? So in order for it to stay secure, you always want to make sure that one goes above the ear and then the other should go under around your neck. So like that. And then the other would come like this. And the reason that I do like the laces over the elastic is because, if you're wearing a hoodie or a hat, or, your hair is as big as mine, you want to have room, and sometimes the elastic can be a little tight. So with these, they're a little bit more adjustable. So that's a really good question, and I hope that was helpful for you. My favorite fabric to work with is denim right now. I love its heritage, how far it stretches back, how American it is. It's very structural, and it's also super easy to clean. So I would say denim right now. Do you need to wear masks even if you are not sick? I would absolutely be wearing a mask each and every time I leave my home. This is something that is, it's airborne. My recommendation, I am not a doctor, but by the grace of God, I've been staying safe throughout this pandemic, and throughout the spread of this virus because I have been wearing gloves and masks every single time I leave my house. Even if it's just to get the mail or a food order or the grocery store, I never leave the house without one, is how I've been rolling. So I hope that you will do the same. When should you charge for a mask and when should you give them away? So being a small business owner, obviously I understand the need for, profit and to keep your business going and to pay if you have staff and to keep your materials coming in. I would recommend charging them. If there is a local hospital that is nearby that you have a connection or some sort of line of communication open to, sending them care packages of a dozen or 20 or however many you can make, I think is a very nice gesture. But with these being something that, are very needed right now, I don't see why, if you make them at a very affordable, price, why you couldn't benefit from it. And I say that because they do take a great deal of time if you are doing them in large bulks. And the materials do require money. So I would say if you do want to donate, maybe do so many that you give out for free and then start charging after that. Because it is everyone nationwide is in need. So that is my advice. I hope that was helpful. Do I offer, someone wants to alter their clothes from home and they're asking me, do I offer sewing tutorials? I do offer sewing tutorials. I was about to start hosting workshops and classes, but the pandemic hit and now everybody needs to stay at home. How about you specifically, if you want to email me, and I can put that somewhere so you can have my contact information and you and I can connect and maybe we can arrange for that to happen virtually. How's that sound? What other strings could you use for your mask? That's a good question. I'm using round shoelaces. You could also use flat shoelaces. You could also use elastic. Elastic is sold by the yard and it comes on spools. So if you have access to elastic, you can always use that. But they are very, the orders of them are months even out on most online stores. So that was why I was resourceful and just grabbed a pair of shoelaces because it was something that I already had in the house. You could also cut up strips of your fabric, as I was saying earlier. So you could cut 18 inches long or 16 inches long and make them 1 inch wide. But by doing so, you are going to, then you'll have the strip. And I'll fold this so that it'll be a little bit more understandable. So this is your strip. You're going to want to press that in half. If you do it this way, you'll press this in half. This is half of our 1 inch. And then from there, you would press the half in half. And you do the same to the other side, making it basically a quarter or a half of an inch strip like that. Because you're going to do that because you don't want your frays as you wash this to come undone. And the reason for this is because these are washable. Making them out of fabric, it becomes washable and something that you can hold on to a little bit longer than the disposable ones. So you want to make sure that as you're putting them together, you're doing a very good job at it because then you can have it for a lot longer. So pressing that halfway and then your halves, pressing those into half, and then you'll have a little smaller finished strip. Those are the best ones. I've also seen online I've seen people use rubber bands. You could also cut up strips of pantyhose or stockings. They also have a lot of tension and elasticity in them and could also work well for just around the ears at that point. Someone wants to know how I got on Project Runway. So I applied to be on the show. And then you have to go through a lot of levels of screening and, applications and questioning and interviewing. After which there's a long deliberation, they make a decision. And, if you are lucky, you get chosen to go on the show. So that is how I got on, and they told me that they were watching my online things, all of my social media platforms, my website. They had been to all of those things in order to find me. So if that helps any, it's really good to have those platforms because that's how they found me. Where can you donate to the prom fundraiser? Excellent question. You can donate. There is a link at the bottom of this prompt in the screen that I'm in right now that you can go to directly and donate. Please donate. This is an extremely good cause for things that I only look back on and remember prom and remember graduate, like the big monumental events that took place in high school. I remember my family being there, and I remember being happy to celebrate those times. And for this to be canceled due to something outside of their control, I think is just, it's really sad. So I'm very grateful to SocialWorks, my friends Essence and Justin, for putting this together. It is amazing. It really, truly is. And I'm happy to be a part of it. But the link to donate is at the bottom of this at the bottom of the screen, and please do so. Don't think that you have to put thousands of dollars. Any amount helps. If a lot of people do a little, we can do a lot with that. So thank you guys for that question. How did you become a designer? How do you become a designer? And is there any advice to starting this career? I became a designer by being too long to fit anything, and I always needed a little bit of extra room in my clothes and in my pants, so I started hand sewing additional lengths of things for me to have, and it kind of turned into a little hobby. I have an aunt who sews really well, and she took me under her wing, and we started sewing things like a little bit more advanced than that. So pillowcases and pajama pants. And so she taught me how to sew on the machine. So it started from a necessity. I went to school for it here in the city of Chicago, and I've been building it for 10 years, but I've been full-time now for 5. And the advice that I would give someone that wants to be a designer is to be consistent. More than anything, be consistent. Get your product out there on somebody who has a platform that is larger than yours, whether that be musicians, whether that's at a meet and greet or a network mingle event. Start talking to people, figuring out the necessities that your potential clients, have, and figuring out a way to mold your brand to fit that mold and to fill the void of that niche. But the first thing, though, is consistency. People won't buy what they're not hearing about. So you got to make enough noise to be considered. So I hope that was helpful. That was a really good question. The next question, I watched Project Runway with you on it and noticed you were the only woman of color. How was that experience? These are some really good questions, y'all. Okay. So that was hard, actually. And a lot of people that have seen me from start to finish, that knew me and that didn't alike, they were saying that I was like really graceful and that there was a level of like poise and how I seemed so together, which is not really the case. I prayed every night and morning before taping that show, and God kept me very close to my centeredness and all that you saw on the show. But the experience of being the only woman of color after the first was eliminated on the first episode, it was a lot of pressure, because our race doesn't get always a good rap on TV. especially not in reality realm. So it's like I wanted to make sure that my character that was portrayed on the show was educated and was a team player. And that's when I spoke, I did so, you know, articulately, and, you know, nothing, there was no negative depiction of who I am as a person. Because everybody from my 8-year-old sister on up to my grandmother would be watching this. And I really wanted to make sure that, you know, I made them proud, essentially. And aside from that, my race proud, and the women in my family proud. But the pressure was on, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I represented us well. You know, I tried really hard. So that was that. But the experience was, it was hard. It was hard, and it was also easy for the part of the design, like doing this, sewing, designing, you know, that part it comes natural, but like the other part, of that pressure of, you know, I'm the only black woman here, you know, it got to be a little hard, if I'm being completely honest. Yes. Yes, so I'm gonna go online and I'm so excited about the masks. I can't wait to see you guys. When you guys make yours, please tag me. Please tag SocialWorks. I would love to see them. And if you guys have any questions, if you're just going to watch this on reserve later and you have questions for me later, feel free to reach out. I would be glad to help you through this, especially for those that have, you know, not sewn a whole lot in the past. So I know it can be a little overwhelming, but I have faith in you, and I'm sure that you're gonna do well. How do you keep being creative and productive during lockdown? I think that right now, inspiration really does come out of necessity. I have a following and customers and people that are looking to support me. And now the brand needs to be in the best position possible in order to not only stand for something, but say something when I am. So like this part of how I'm doing these upcycled shirts, I think really speaks to, you know, making something out of nothing, but making it fun and making it cool enough so that people will buy, you know. I think that part is super important to me. And my creative process right now comes out of necessity. I need to do this in order to breathe. I need to do this in order to keep my sanity. I really do love what I do, and I hope that it shows. But I love to do this. I love to wake up every single day, and I'm blessed to be able to wake up every single day and do this. But it comes out of necessity, you know. I am responsible for this, and my orders and the people that are still buying with me are relying on it, you know. So yeah. You said someone said to show the mask. So the one that I made in the tutorial is here. And I love it because it is African print and it's fun. These lime green strings are cute. So if we have to wear them, I figure we might as well be cute, right? Might as well. I did also make one out of the cloth that I showed you all in the beginning. Just the white one. But it also has colored string. That is the other reason why I mentioned shoelaces, because shoelaces tend to be more fun. They're more colorful and stuff like that. So get super creative with this. Have as much fun as you want, but just make sure that it's functional. And if you do have access to disposable masks, these can go on top of those, so that when you come back in, you can toss the disposable and wash this one. So yeah. And how do you find inspiration for your creative projects? So as I was just saying, honestly, it comes out of necessity. I figure out ways to reinvent an idea a pre-existing idea, make it cooler, make it more fresh and exciting. And I try not to be inspired by things that you can see. because to me that's like copying someone else, and I don't like to do that. So I try to pull inspiration from things that are abstract, meaning I can't really touch them. So I try not to do a whole lot of like designer runway, like that is super familiar to me. I try to do music, books, and things that you can't really see, but you can feel it. So I pull my inspiration from there. I also love to conceptualize. Every collection that I've ever released has a story behind it. For the reason of just like, if this is going to be the way that I communicate my creative process, I would like for it to be as thorough as possible. And so that is where some of my inspiration naturally comes from, because it has to be a well thought out idea first, before it can become the reality of like an item. So where can we order the masks? I am not selling them at the moment right now, but I will be, and once I do, they will be available on shopalexcarter.com. I literally only did this to show you all how to be preemptive as well as resourceful and protect yourselves when you are stepping out of your homes. And with them being so scarce everywhere, I thought that this would be a perfect way to give back, for free, for those that are watching at home and have access and time to do this. So there's that. And show us some more masks. I've given out all of the other ones that I have made, but they are all printed mostly. I use fun fabrics like this or this, and I have a stripe and a polka dot, all of which are cotton, and different color laces, just because, again, if you have to wear these every day, then it should be fun. You should be cute and it should be fun. So yeah, there's that. Do you guys have any other questions pertaining to the tutorial that you saw? Any ways that I can help you through any of it, measurement wise, or tools that you can use? No. I think I got through all of them. So, yeah. Great. I'm going to look online quick and see if there are any other questions. Awesome. Okay, I do want to take the last few minutes to, again, the link at the bottom of this screen is where you can donate. Please, donating and helping can come in the form of sharing it with somebody who is able as well. If you are not able to donate, sharing it is also a form of donation, because you're helping to spread the word. So please share the link, donate, follow SocialWorks and all that they're doing. It's not just this web series. They're doing so much great work for the community, for the children, and for everyone else in need. So again, I want to thank Justin and Essence and Mary and the entire squad and the team over there, known and unknown. I know it takes a village, and I really think that you all are killing it. And I want to thank you again for asking me to do this. I'd do it again a million times over. So thank you for having me. Thank you all who tuned in. I appreciate that. And I'm going to take this last question because hold on. And I'm an aspiring seamstress. Shout out to you. That's amazing. And I want to start making my own clothes. Where are some resources that I can use? What are some resources that I can use to start learning quickly? Well, now YouTube is your best friend. You would literally be able to go and type in beginners start to becoming a seamstress on YouTube. And right now you can pretty much find it. I would recommend starting with things that are easier to grasp, like what my aunt and I did when I was learning. She would have me sew pillowcases and pajama pants to start, and that's because there's a lot of straight lines, but you're going to want to build your accuracy in your sewing lines as well as your pattern making skills first. Everything else will come very natural. I would start there first. Pattern making and your accuracy for your stitches and things like that. So start there. And best of luck to you. That's an amazing aspiration to have. And hopefully I'll see your work soon too. But I think that is my time. And I want to thank you guys again. If you guys have any questions offline and you think of them after watching it, feel free to reach out to me. I am always available, especially now. So good luck, stay safe, stay home, and donate to this cause, please. And share with somebody that you know.
Works. Social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works, social works. Yeah, S works. Everyone put it in their hands. You know it's a vibe. They're waiting in line to get up and flood up the stands. Yeah, we in this together. We feeling like fam. It's all about peace. So pull up with friends. You better come through with you and your crew, cause everybody going in. S works, so we keep it lit. You can see how we move the city from the west side to the east. Ooh, you can feel it how we leap through. It's all about the youth. Change the world through the tunes. Make the world to a better place. And S works what we do.
Social works, social